Most teenagers are attracted to things that are either dangerous or illegal or both. And I was not an exception to this rule. Lucky for me, the communist regime of 1980s Poland made all kinds of things illegal that otherwise would be of no interest to teenagers, like reading censored articles and books, listening to Western music bands, or even going to church. And because such things were forbidden or discouraged, I really liked them. Then, in 1989, the regime agreed to hold the very first free elections in Eastern Europe. Naturally, only the Communist Party had access to radio and TV stations. Only they were allowed to advertise their candidates. So the Solidarity leaders had to rely on somewhat unconventional campaign methods, like spraying the walls of buildings with their famous logo, or hanging their posters under the cover of night. The very idea of running around with a bucket of glue long after bedtime was simply irresistible to this 15-year-old boy. With a few friends, I offered my services to a local Solidarity chapter, and we spent several exciting nights playing cat and mouse games with the regime cops, whose job it was to make sure that no opposition materials are distributed. We got caught only once, 2 days before the June 4th elections. We were minors, and luckily for us, we were released into our parents' custody, minus the posters and the buckets of glue. It was that night, or rather that early morning, that my mother asked me for the first time, "Are you out of your mind?" 15 years later, she asked me the same question again. "Marek, are you out of your mind?" You see, back then I was a young Roman Catholic priest in good standing, happily serving in a cathedral parish. But after many months of trying to save a Polish church in St. Louis from a distance, I decided to go there in person and help them fight an unjust and control-obsessed archbishop. Those people had no pastor and no church services for almost 2 years just because they would not transfer their church's property to that above-mentioned archbishop. I told my parents that I'm going to go and help them with or without the archbishop's approval. I told them that it would probably end up with my excommunication for the answering the call of the people and not the stern warnings of the archbishop. It was then that my mother ushered her second, "Are you out of your mind?" In today's gospel passage, we hear Jesus' relatives whisper a similar comment. He must be out of his mind. They loved him, but did not really get him. Why throw away a comfortable life of a carpenter in Nazareth and trade it for a hectic and unpredictable life of a wandering preacher? Why surround yourself with a bunch of detested tax collectors and sex workers? Why attend to the needs of the sick and the hungry, while barely having any time to eat or rest yourself? Sweet baby Jesus, are you out of your mind? Looking with love and tenderness at all those sinners, poor and hungry people, Jesus reached a conclusion that marks the spiritual coming of age moment for every sojourner. He said, "Here are my mothers and my brothers. Those who get me are my real family. Those who share my passion and zeal for justice are my soulmates, my siblings, my companions." Jesus never stopped loving his mother, and she, even though perhaps she never really got him, she always supported him, and she remained with him to the very end. But it was John who was his closest friend and beloved disciple. It was Mary Magdalene with whom he shared his innermost thoughts and ideals. It was Martha, Mary, and Lazarus that got him and financed many of his projects. We all ought to love our relatives, including those who get on our nerves and those who don't get us. But like Jesus, we also need mothers, sisters, and brothers who do get us. We need friends and companions who share our dreams, who burn with the same zeal, who journey with us even when everyone else is asking, "Are you out of your mind?" Amen.